So this past week, I had the chance to try out field archery. For those of you who don't know what that is, which I had no idea before I went, it's heading out into the forest with bows and arrows and shooting at foam targets. Full disclosure, no animals were harmed in the making of that experience, but it was a lot of fun and it was a huge learning curve. So we went out early in the morning. There was still a fog covering all of the fields, and we walked up this trail to the edge of the forest. And at the edge of the forest, there was this clearing with 3 targets, and everything has been manicured, so it's a practice area. It's a practice space to get comfortable with shooting. And I had a great coach with me. He was teaching me how to hold my shoulders, how to hold my arms, how to draw back the bow, how to adjust the scope based on the distance that I was. So we knew that the targets were 10, 15, and 20 meters away. So I could adjust accordingly so that as they were further away, I aimed higher because of gravity takes the arrow down a little bit. So I started getting kind of comfortable. I started actually hitting the targets and every now and then hitting the gold. It was huge and it felt really good. And so I started to get a little cocky. The forest took care of the cockiness, because as soon as we entered into the forest, all of a sudden it wasn't stable ground that we were walking on. We were hiking from target to target, and the ground was totally uneven that we had to stand on. Sometimes you needed to kneel. Sometimes you had 1 foot in a stream and 1 foot up on the hill. And the targets were no longer these big, clean circles, but they were foam animals. They were uphill, they were downhill, they were hidden behind trees and behind branches. And the mosquitoes were very hungry. And as I was walking through this course, I started to realize a little analogy for myself. That there are times when I get a little cocky. I hear something, either from a speaker or from a coach, and I take it in, and I take this concept, and I think, wow, that's really powerful. It's really beautiful. And so I start to talk about it. And I start to reflect on how great that is in theory. But I'm not actually putting it into practice in my life. I'm not actually stepping into the forest and daring to get uncomfortable with it. Daring to see what happens when it's outside of the vacuum of my pristine thoughts and into the reality of interacting with other people in perhaps uncomfortable ways. Sharing my truth when it might cause discomfort and disruption. The willingness to be uncomfortable myself by doing something that's new and perhaps might make me look really foolish the first few times. And that was my reflection for the past week, and that I'm carrying forward. And it's something I wanted to share with you. What are the places where we find ourselves with something that's beautiful in theory, honesty and the idea of sharing openly, being vulnerable, being courageous with trying something new? How much are we just talking about these things? And how much are we daring to step into the woods and put them into practice in our own lives?